Good morning. Welcome back to another video on the day of City versus Newcastle at the Etihad Stadium, the El Clasico, which it was once called. It's never quite transformed into that, but it's still a massive game of football today. City, of course, in the hunt for the top four, the top five, depending which way it's going to go, but either way in the hunt for Champions League football. You're aiming for the top four, then you hope for top five being enough, don't you? Against Newcastle today, who sit in sixth, with City sat in fifth. A victory today for either side will put them into the Champions League spots ahead of Chelsea. How did Chelsea get on last night? I saw the goal. 3-0 it was for Brighton. Wow. Brighton won 3-0 last night against Chelsea. I saw the Matoma goal, which is beautiful, and Yankuba Minty scored a brace too. Yeah, so we go ahead of Chelsea if we win. So do Newcastle. So it's a big game of football today. Genuinely is. I'm looking forward to it. A bit nervous. I'm not going to sit here and pretend otherwise. Do let me know your mood, your expectations, what you think of the game today. Look, there's so many questions that I want answering, that we need answering. Like, will the new signings start? You know, will we see changes after the Real Madrid game? Some of them are going to be unavoidable given, the injuries. Can we stop Isaac, Gordon, Joe Linton, Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes and co? That's going to be really, really hard. And who starts today? Essentially, it's going to be a really interesting game of football. And I am cautiously optimistic, cautiously terrified. It's everything at once, really. This is the thing these days. Is like, I feel like it's really hard because sometimes I feel like we're in a situation where you feel like City could win out of nowhere, get 3 or 4 goals, but also lose by 4-1 or something like that on the counter-attack. Because I don't think City are truly done. I think there's quality there that if it turns up and we somehow manage to get lucky and not concede some goals, that seems to be the extent of it right now. We'd have to get lucky and not concede some goals because we always concede goals. But we do, we're going to score at the same time because we're pretty decent in terms of going forward with obviously Haaland and co. So it's a weird one. I think I always start these previews by going to the press conference stuff because it's always interesting to see the expectation. Also, this is sort of the backdrop of this, of course, is that City did win the court case, one of the court cases against the Premier League about the associated party transaction rules, which is about sponsorships and all that kind of stuff, and it was deemed unlawful. That was a bit victory off the pitch for City. I haven't got a lot to say with that, by the way, because it's not really something that I'm a specialist in. And when it comes to finance stuff, I can't say I'm that interested. But it was a big win for the club, of course, which sort of gives City a little bit more freedom and stops people sort of dictating what they can and can't be sponsored by, which is pretty absurd anyway. And a lot of it is sort of down to, I don't know, a lot of it's down to mistrust, and no, it's complicated. I guess I'm not really that interested. That's just a personal thing, Some of you are, but I am a football fan, and I do struggle to be interested in the finance stuff. So I'll start with Guardiola in the press conference. He was asked immediately, how do you recover from the mood after the Madrid defeat? He said just recover and move forward. He's confirmed that Akanji is out for 8 to 10 weeks, which is terrible. Abdukodir, he said. I think so. Broken. So Akanji's out for an awful long time, which is terrible news. Guardiola said on Akanji, where is it? Let me find it. There was some quote. He said, "We only wish the best recovery for Manu and Speedy because the effort he has done this season has been unbelievable. Him and Nathan played in difficult conditions. Not being able to be top and help the team in an emergency position, regarding the lack of players in that position. At the end, the body said enough is enough." So Akanji's out for an awful long time, which is a massive blow. I know his form hasn't been great. But we need the senior players where we can. And I think actually at right back, he was going to be my number one choice anyway, because I still don't think Rico or Nunes are the guys there. Kanji in the centre has made a few mistakes, but he can stay fit out right. I trust him a lot more there. So he's out, unfortunately. Guardiola also said as well, Jack Grealish is out as well. So it's not as tough as what Manu has done, but I don't know if tomorrow he'll be ready. I don't think so, but we'll see, and we'll assess in the next hours. So probably no Jack Grealish as well, which is a shame because he started really good against Real Madrid, but no Jack Grealish. You can't stay fit, and I think the trust in Jack Grealish might be dipping away, unfortunately, for Guardiola. This is a shame. Guardiola said, interesting, said the whole league has made a step forward in all the teams, and we made some steps backwards in terms of what we were last season and previous seasons. Look, very self-aware. It's good to hear that, always I'm a firm believer that if people tell you some things publicly, they'll only tell you a little bit of what they're actually saying privately. So if they're this kind of open in public about us not being very good, I can imagine they're just really desperate behind the scenes, if that makes sense. So it's quite reassuring to know that everything we've gone through, Guardiola and the club are very aware of it recently. You know, it's hard not to be, but sometimes clubs pretend there's nothing wrong with the fingers in the air. They're not doing that, which is nice, you know. Bit of an update on Nico Gonzalez. Guardiola said it wasn't a difficult start. He was just injured against Leyton Orient, that is. A difficult start is when you play bad, but that was not the case versus Leyton Orient. But of course, it was a setback. He had a little pain, and for Rail, he was not fully fit. Day by day, he's getting better, and we'll assess in a few hours. I think he'll be okay, Nico Gonzalez. Based off the words of that, I've got a feeling Guardiola will be tempted at the Etihad in particular. The only thing is, I'm not sure how much Guardiola wants to play a guy who's not fully fit yet, and essentially it'll be his proper debut again because the Leyton Orient game was non-existent. It'd be his debut. It's not his debut, but you know what I'm getting at. The first big game for him, and it'd be Newcastle's midfield, and that would be a ramshackle physical game, you know. And he might be able to step up to it, you know, but it's just a big ask for him. It's a massive ask for him against, once again, Bruno, Tonali and co. It's a massive ask, we'll see. Yeah, he was very complimentary of Bruno Guimaraes. He's a man that you can tell Guardiola wants. I mean, Bruno Guimaraes is one of my favourite players in the Premier League. He was very, very talented, a massive leader for them. Guardiola rightfully pointed out he's played at a high level for years now. You have spirit. Yeah, he said physicality. They have speed, long ball, set piece experience, a solid team, and they've reached Carabao Cup final. They're a very dangerous side. He talked about Bruno Guimaraes now playing slightly more advanced, but he can play holding midfield and he's arriving more in the box. It's a very Gundogan level arc, isn't it? He's a brilliant footballer. A bit more physical than Gundogan, of course, as well. Look, he would have been, for me, the number one signing this last summer, but, you know, didn't happen. This was very interesting, Guardiola. He touched on something that I've been upset about recently, because everyone talks a lot about getting physicality in the team, and I agree we need to get stronger players or people that can run at very least, but the main thing for me that I've been disappointed at is that we just don't keep the ball very well anymore. You know, I still maintain that if we had Pete Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden in form, then a young Gundogan and a young David Silva, all those guys are small, but if they were playing well and confident, and like an Aguero, then say Sterling or something like that, all those guys were in form, and still ahead of a Fernandinho or Rodri type, we'd be fine. They're all small, but if they were young and could move, we'd be fine because they wouldn't get the ball off us anyway. And ultimately, that's all that matters, you know. And that's the issue. Guardiola said always we've been so comfortable with the ball, and now we are not as much comfortable when we have the ball. And after, we have to use our physicality, and our physicality is not like other teams. So essentially, we're not very physical. We're old and slow, and we can't keep the ball. So it's a recipe for disaster. I still maintain, like, yes, sign people who can run, but they've got to be geniuses as well, because Guardiola systems will always fall apart if the players aren't technically good enough. I want to make sure whoever we sign, they don't have to be like, you know, 6'5" freaks physically. Look, it's always great if you can do, but some of them just have to be able to run still. Like a young Bernardo Silva would be wonderful in this side again. You know, 27-year-old Bernardo, 26-year-old Bernardo. We don't need like everyone to be 6'2" and built like a wall. You know, they just. I think the main attribute for me is the right age so they can still run and press. But technically brilliant. And this is where Nico Gonzalez comes into it, you know, in terms of technically he might be good enough, fingers crossed, if he is, but he's also, you know, the right age and so on. It's where things like Echeverri, as you said, coming in, he might help with that as well because he'll be young. His fitness isn't there yet, Echeverri, in terms of like long, you know, be able to run for 90 minutes yet. For some reason, Echeverri, for what I can tell, he seems to not have the physicality yet. But if he gets it in time, yeah. And Strudel's lol said accurately, he said, yeah, we signed Nunes because he could run, but he doesn't have the attributes of keeping the ball. And I think it's very obvious, like, Nunes can run clearly, but he's not smart enough to play in a Guardiola system in midfield. That's not my opinion. It's very obviously Guardiola's too. So, you know, Guardiola's pretty much said it. So I'll go to the rest of the updates. There was more in the embargo. There's a lot of stuff about. There's the training pictures, by the way. There's your man James. There's Kevin De Bruyne. There's Pep. And there's Stonesy. He gets the boys excited. Khusanov smiling, looking very happy. Look at the man Abdukodir, Rico. And there's Nico, Bernardo, and Savinho. Nico looks good there, man. He looks happy. So I think he's going to be fine to be involved. So we'll see on that. A lot of interesting talk from Guardiola. Defending his team, rightfully so. Guardiola said, guys, we deserve to have a bad season. Come on. In 8 or 9 years, we deserve to not be like we were. They are human beings. It can happen. What is the problem? No. I mean, with Guardiola, it's not nice to have a bad season, but we cannot expect perfection all the time. I did a video with a Newcastle fan channel ahead of this game, and I did say, look, even being honest, winning 4 leagues in a row, I can't be winning the amount of leagues we won, 6 out of the last 7. I can't pretend that the 6th feels as special as the first. It just doesn't, because you do get not used to it. It's not the right word, but the shock isn't there quite as much if your team is the best for ages. It's always fun, but it's only human nature to, not if you do something 4 times in a row to naturally not have quite as much enthusiasm as the first time we did it. It's just it's just how it is. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that I think it's probably good for us as a club. I think we did get complacent, and I think so as a fan base as well, we got used to success. I think this little slap in the face of a season is probably good for everyone to sort of realign and reassert our values, because sometimes people do get complacent. People take the eye off the ball and don't make the right decisions, and I think maybe we take things for granted as fans as well. So it is normal to have a bad season, and I think we need reminding that. Not that we've done anything wrong as such, but I think it'll be good for us in the long run, And Guardiola rightfully pointed out as well that how special we've been. He said, have you seen Liverpool this season? They cannot do 100 points already, and definitely cannot. They can get 99, but not 100. And look at the season they've done. That made me realise, wow, what we have done. Exactly. Liverpool have been flawless, but they still can't get 100 points. It's absurd that City got 100 points. Is it like ridiculously hard? In my opinion, 100 points is like the biggest, the biggest accomplishment in the Premier League. I think it is. Like, I think it's better than the Invincibles and all that kind of stuff because it's so much. It's so hard to do. Like, I would rather the wins, I would genuinely rather the wins because I mean, when I look at the Premier League table, we won 32 games out of 38. 32 games out of 38 in 17-18 when we got the 100 points. We only lost 2 and we won 32 out of 38. That is better than winning 24 out of 38 with the Invincibles. We won 8 more games. Was it 24 or was it 26? I think it was 26 games they won the Invincibles, didn't they? So we won 6 more games. I don't know. I prefer the points personally. I think it's more special, Anyway. Guardiola said, when people say, Pep, what happened? No. What has happened? That is the problem. That is not normal. It's not normal now, but it's not normal in the past. Who will do 100 points? Oh, he's saying, what happened? He's saying, what has happened? That's the problem. He's saying, you're judging me based off the what we've done previously, but that is not normal, He said, who will do 100 points now in modern football? I'm waiting, or 4 in a row, I'm waiting. Good on Pep as well, man. He's basically saying, these are the standards that we set, and now you're judging them against us. You've got to remember that those standards are special. And he's right, man. He's right. They are special. He's not wrong to point that out. So maybe we'll finish 14th or 15th league, but we are 6th. We're not dropping maybe like other teams who've had successful few sets. And that's a good point, by the way. Everyone acts like, he's mentioning United there. Everyone acts like we've had a disaster, which we have at times. But, when Mourinho had a disaster, they were like 14th or something when he got sacked. Look where United are right now. A lot of teams dropped right down to the bottom half. And I know our form tipped on that, but we're still, we're still 6th. We're still probably going to get Champions League football. So it hasn't been a catastrophe. It's just been mental, Guardiola's solution to right back, he said, well, I have Rico, I have Mateus. I don't know if Khusanov can play there and help. It depends on the shape we play and the way we attack and defend, and we'll see. I think he's thinking about Khusanov, the fact that he mentioned it there, by the way. I think that's very obvious and very interesting. It said at the end of the season, the team, myself, the club will take the decisions we have, try to avoid what happened this season in terms of injuries, many things that have happened, try and solve it. That's interesting. He's saying basically next season they're going to try and get away from injury proneness. That might mean moving players on, bigger squad. I don't know. We're going to change next season. Will be interesting. But he's looking once again. It's about the technical ability. I need to quote that. I want to quote this right now, by the way. I keep saying, as much as physicality and being able to run is important, we have to up our technical level. It just won't work under Pep otherwise, will it? It's the biggest drop-off for me, technically. Like, it really is. Like, we can't just play that way. We have to really do it. So I'm fingers crossed we do. He said Liverpool have always been stronger than us. Arsenal have always been stronger than us. He's on about physicality. But now, before we had confidence with the ball, and now we suffer when we have the ball. I accept when opponents have the ball, I'm going to suffer. But now we suffer when we have the ball. That's never happened and we were comfortable. I cannot change. I cannot go to the gym 3 days and make players become stronger, faster, quicker. It's not going to happen. So yeah, basically, yeah, we have to be better technically. And we have to improve the quality of the side, yeah? So we were able to do 25, 30 passes, now we're not. The big success of the team is when we were able to do 20 to 30 passes at the halfway, now we're not able to. But now we don't do because we want to score, accelerate, because people demand you have to score another. To score, we have to play. Look, tomorrow, do you think we can compete with physicality of Newcastle? Defend more compact, play better with the ball. Know exactly in certain moments what we have to do. Sometimes you have to drop a little bit and be compact defensively and help each other. You want to fight against Bruno, Tonali, Longstaff, Willock, Joelinton. They're stronger, quicker, faster than our players. Guardiola's very aware, by the way. He's very aware. He's absolutely right as well. I mean, some of it's on him. You got to change the system a little bit, maybe, arguably, but it's interesting because Guardiola, I did a big thread about this, by the way, about the size of the squads, and Guardiola's sort of backed it up. I did say about it's not realistic anymore in terms of the amount of games. The only solution he's got is 40 players in the squad, but it's impossible. Bankruptcy of the clubs. It is impossible. He's right. 25-man squad isn't suitable anymore. It really isn't. That's my honest opinion about injuries in the Premier League. 25 players just isn't enough. The 25 came in, over a decade ago? God knows how long we've had 25 squad members for in terms of what you're allowed. But football was totally different then. There's an extra 20% of games now these days. So he's right to point that out. Anyway, Gundo said something different in the Premier League. I actually agree, by the way. This is a really good press conference, by the way. It's really interesting. I agree that the Premier League has got better, more physical. Everyone's more structured. I absolutely agree. I think some teams have dropped a little bit, but I think the other sides, you look at your Bournemouth, your Nottingham Forest and all that kind of stuff, Newcastle, Villa, they're all way better. They're all way better. And Gundogan said he's noticed it too. So, yeah. So we're going to have to adapt to it. The good thing for me is you take all that in a nutshell. They're very aware that physically we're not good enough. They're very aware that technically we're not good enough. They're very aware that everyone's got better. They're very aware that they've got injury-prone issues. So they're very aware publicly about the issues that we've got. I'm expecting a concerted effort in the summer, a physical effort in the summer to fix this. So, yeah, I think they will do. I'm quite relieved to hear all these. As much as it's a painful season, I'm expecting City to fix it. So let's look at Newcastle's results anyway. I'll show you quickly Newcastle's results and how they get on. They're currently sat 6th in the Premier League. I haven't got a long left for this, by the way, because I've got to go take my son to swimming. They did beat Newcastle Arsenal 2-0, in the Carabao Cup. Botman, Dan Burn, Shah. I think one of Botman or Dan Burn is not available. I think Gordon's available for this game. But Bruno, Tonali, Gordon, Isak, Jacob Murphy, Trippier, Lewis Hall. They've got a lot of quality players, We know that now. Livermento's on the bench. Nick Pope's there as well, Dubravka. Look, they are a really good side. I think Emil Kraft might have to play this game as well, potentially, but we'll see. We know what you get from Newcastle these days. Aggressive, physical, strong, potentially world-class midfielders. Bruno is probably a world-class midfielder. Tonali and Joelinton aren't world-class, but they're top-class. They're very good footballers. They're physical, they're aggressive. And they've got, right now, one of the best strikers in world football in Isak. Gordon is probably one of the best wingers in football. I really believe that. And then they've got the pace of Lewis Hall and Livramento out wide. They are so set to give City such a hard time. It's really difficult, man. It's really, really difficult to play this Newcastle side. How do I think we'll line up? Look, we've got to sort of work it out. We've got to try and work it out. It's going to be hard. Let me get the colour changed as always. I think Ederson is an absolute given to start in defence. I said midfield, then that would be funny, wouldn't it? Josko's going to start over here. So, no, do we know if Ake's available? Do we know? I'm going to presume he isn't. I'm going to put Diaz and Stones. I think it's going to be that. Akanji definitely isn't available. I think you might. I'd love to see this. I'd love him to go for this, Khusanov. And then we can see this, where Josko still does his forward thing. And we have this. I would really like that, where he gets up there. Anyway, I want to see Nico start alongside potentially Silva and Border Kovacic. I'd like that, sort of like that. If Ake is available, I would love to see Stones in midfield again. So if Ake is somehow available, if we get Stones in midfield, and if we could do that, that would be amazing. Over this side, you could have Silva could look. God, it's hard, isn't it? Haaland will definitely start. KDB, I don't think will start. Could we see Doku get a start, maybe, potentially? Marmoush? Savinho? Foden, does he start? It's really hard, isn't it? I don't really know. It could be... I'd like to see Stones in midfield. I'd love to see that. Stones and Nico would be great. That would have the physicality. I don't know if either are fit enough for that. It could just be that Ake's not available, and you're going to have to see... Stones at centre-back. Foden will be up here somewhere. You'll have that. You'll have this. And this could be Savinho, maybe. I don't think De Bruyne plays today. I think it could be something like that. Josko will go forward. Diaz will cover that channel. Stones there. Khusanov might stay back if he plays. Sort of semi like this, really, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's going to be really hard to predict this side today. I'm not confident at all in terms of how we're going to do it. The most realistic one would be Nunez at right back. He could play Khusanov. I would love him to play Khusanov against Gordon, but I don't think he will do. If it's Nunez against Gordon, we're screwed. It could be Rico Lewis. That would be hard for him as well. Yeah, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. I feel today... I'm going for 2-2, I reckon. I'm going to go for 2-2 today. I don't think we win today. I think we're going to concede, but I also don't think we lose either at the same time. Probably not the worst bit of news, to get a draw against this Newcastle side, because then I start to look at the fixtures, and we aren't that far away now from getting through where we're at. It's one of those things where we are... I'm going to look at the fixtures now. Who else have we got left on this horrible run? We've got Real Madrid again, Liverpool and Spurs, then Forest and Brighton. Okay, it's not getting any easier, actually. There's still an awful lot to go with that, which isn't ideal, but we're getting through this run of games. And if we can get through this run of games and still be reasonably in touch with the top 4 or top 5 or whatever it's going to be, I think we have a chance. We need a big game today, by the way, from some of the new lads. I'm hoping that Guardiola does lean on the new lads today. I'd love to see Nico, Gonzalez, Marmoush, Khusanov get a chance. I'm not expecting it today. I think Khusanov's got a chance. If Guardiola tries something different, not that he will, because he doesn't seem to very much, but I don't know. You never know. Stranger things have happened. Marmoush, I would love to see. I think he could bring a bit of energy to this City side, which has been lacking it. We'd have to play with runners, though, and I don't know if we're very good at doing that. We're not. Guardiola wants his team to keep the ball and play 35 passes, as he's literally just said. So bearing that in mind, I don't see how Guardiola would suddenly get him to start playing long balls in behind to get the runners, which sort of makes me think, well, why did we sign Marmoush then? Marmoush is a runner. It makes me a little bit worried about that, because the frustration we feel is that we're not picking out the runners. So Guardiola wants him to get loads of passes but also pick out the runners. I don't know how we do that. It seems like a bit of a contradiction. And I think you need geniuses to be able to make the decisions. And I think currently we haven't got geniuses in midfield. So we're an inherently contradictory side, which is difficult, Yeah. So Nico, we don't know if he's fit yet. Now I'm in the chat. He's sort of fit, sort of not fit. We'll see. My watch long today will be on bigup.com. There'll be a link in the... Let me just make sure it's on screen right now. A link in the description of the video. 1 second. I'll put it in right now. Click the link in the description to join the watch along for later. I'm going to leave it here, guys, for now. I'm going to get ready to go swim with my son. For now, thanks for watching. Love you all loads. Let me know your predictions, your team 11 and all that kind of stuff. And I'll see you later for the watch along. Come on, you Blues. In a bit. Bye-bye.